All right, we are live. Welcome to a self healing journey. I am Kimmy Siegel, and this is our guest, John Thaddeus Fiore. We're going to take a moment to find ourselves and share this out.
That would be wonderful, Kimmy, because I'm not. My lighting's kind of dark, huh? Let's see. If there's anything I could do about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Kimmy, even
Now,
though I'm kind of dark, you could see me okay.
yes, I can see you fine.
All right.
I have a little um, weird light bulb that my son bought me that you can turn into different colors and
Okay, I got it.
found it.
I
Okay.
got the live stream.
All right, let's share.
And so, say hello to Julie and Rachel. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello. Welcome.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah, there's an important particular part of this that I really would like people to hear, Kimmy. Well, we'll get rolling. You let me know how you want to start.
Yeah, I'm just gonna finish sharing.
Take your time. I'm going to do more of that myself.
Okay. And whoever's coming in, if you could all share out where it's allowed, I greatly appreciate it.
Hey, Jess, how you doing? Share out, guys. I'm doing good, Rachel. How are you?
Okay, my YouTube is up and going. That's good.
Okay.
There we go. There we go. Ah, almost there, guys.
It's all right, Kimmy. I'm fooling with this myself. Let's see if anybody else is here. We had rain and it was starting to mess with me mentally.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Rachel. Well, hi, Lauren. How are you, honey? Um, Rachel, pay attention to EFT, and it will really help with seemingly little things like that throw off our energy. It's perfect for that, but I'll get into that.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. This is the third episode of a self-healing journey, and we have our guest tonight, John Thaddeus Fiore. So let's welcome him. Yay!
Jimmy, thank you so much. It's so good to be with you. We always have fun together. We
so
always
yeah.
have fun.
So let's see who's on here with us. Julie, welcome. Rachel, Jessica, Lauren. Oh, I should tag a couple of people.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, yes, Joe. Okay.
Boy, I'm so dark. I'm going to see if I could make an adjustment here. Let me see.
Okay.
Can you shut? Oh, I could shut my cam. 1 second. Be right back.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can make it lighter. It's like I'm in a cave.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Gina. Hi, Christina.
I'm down in
Hi, Sandy.
I'm down in my spirit cave. It's a little better, but it's going to have to do.
It looks fine. It looks like a man cave.
Okay, it is. I'm down in the cave, in the spirit cave. I seem to dig in real good down here, Kimmy. It's very first of all, I'm sitting in my past mom's rocking chair, and it's wood and it holds a lot of great energy. So I love being in this chair because it raises my energy. Hi, Sandy. You've been
That's
sent to
nice.
your room. I mean, cave. Yes.
That's nice. I'm adding a desk chair to my list of things to get.
Okay.
Because I'm using one of my kitchen chairs and they are not the most comfortable things at all.
Okay. Yeah, this is
So,
a rocker, so
that's a rocking chair. So yeah.
Rocker. I have fun with this thing.
Hi, Heather. Welcome.
Hello, Heather. Hello, Gina.
So, the reason that Spirit pretty much bugged me to do this was because people are stopping when they get a diagnosis. Okay. And they're not realizing that there are things that they can do for themselves to self-heal. And that is why these lives are being done at this time. I don't know where it's going to go after this. I have no idea yet. I'm just going with the flow right now because this is what they, impressed on me to do. Hi, Sandy. Welcome. So we're here with John. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hello, Linda. Hello, Sandy. How you doing, guys? Did I miss somebody?
Linda, Gina.
Hi, C. C is here too. I missed I missed C before. Hi, C.
Maybe it needs to go to Singapore. What? Okay. So we are here today talking with John about his self-healing journey. We had Serena Michaels first, and we had Zay Pierre. And today it's John Thaddeus Fiore. This Friday at noon Eastern time is going to be Renee Atkins.
Oh, Renee, she's wonderful.
Okay. And then next week we have some more people coming up. So, John,
Yeah, baby.
let's get going here.
Okay. Kimmy, it's important for everybody to know, look, titles, certifications, degrees, all of that stuff is great. It doesn't make me a master at anything, but it does help to know that I spent quite a bit of time studying holistic studies, holistic topics, body, mind, spirit, healing. I have 3 certifications, level 1 and 2, holistic coach healer from Awakenings Institute, and I have an EFT international tapping certificate for intermediate EFT practitioner. So I spent quite a bit of time studying this stuff. Pretty much started in 2014, and I'm not a mental health professional. However, I have learned from some of them, and some very how would you say, very unique and cathartic, very beautiful professional psychotherapeutic healers, people that are mental health professionals.
I will be right back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Come on.
And um, being an EFT practitioner and a coach and a healer, it just wasn't enough for me. I really wanted to work more consciously. You're always working with spirit, but I wanted to work directly with spirit. So I had a couple of strokes back in 2015, and Kimmy, that was a huge, I would say, bump in my spiritual awakening, and that's when I started to adopt. I started to use my psychic ability to connect with my angelic team and some ascended masters, and I had a unique experience back in 2010 where I actually felt like I was embodied by Jesus. I mean, I never felt anything like that in my life. But leading up to that, Kimmy, excuse me, leading up to that, I mean, I had a childhood. I was as much as I fool around, I'm highly sensitive, and I grew up in a tough inner city neighborhood. Okay, and it wasn't conducive to a sensitive soul. You had to be a rough and tough guy. Okay?
You had to have a tough outer skin.
And you know what? I am physically, mentally tough. However, I have this huge divine feminine side, which is a big heart. Okay. And I wasn't able to balance the two. I didn't know anything about divine feminine and masculine back when I was a kid. All I knew was I was very sensitive soul, and I loved helping people. And I took on. I grew up in an immigrant Italian family, and Sandy, there was a lot of emotional abuse. Let's put it that way. A lot of emotional abuse. And so from what I know now, looking back to what was going on with me as a little child, I had severe anxiety. I didn't know it then. I'm just growing up, and all I know is I'm frozen in fear all the time. Okay, frozen. And I so much so that I had um, a friend, a high school friend, come up to me at our 45th. Oh, no, excuse me, it was 50th. 50th high school reunion, and said, it was a girl. She said, "John, how come you never took me out?" I says, "Why? Did you like me?" She says, "Yeah, I thought I gave you that impression." I says, "Listen, I was frozen, stuck in a world of." That's what happens when you're in severe anxiety, Kimmy. You're always in a constant state of fight or flight, and you're always in a protective mode where you're seeking out threats. Okay, and a lot of what you experience is either not remembered, it's suppressed, it's buried in your consciousness, it's buried in your
Oh,
body,
yeah, because
and
people didn't talk about that stuff back then.
no, back in my day, listen, guys, I'm going to be
No,
70. I'm
I'm
going to be 70.
I'm only 5 years younger than you, John.
Okay. So we come from a time where um, it was like this, Kimmy. Uh, you're sensitive. Get the F back to work. You know what I'm saying? My Italian family was so, I have to use the word, dysfunctional. All I knew is uh, my father's siblings were always fighting, and I didn't get to grow up, and I don't know practically 75% of my family, because who's mad at who's screaming, who's yelling, and that kind of stuff to a child, okay, comes out in a lot of different nasty. It manifests into some pretty ugly stuff. Okay, so but looking back now, guys, I consider myself blessed based upon some of the things I hear that some of you have gone through. I mean, I hear, as a practitioner, I've helped people with some pretty severe trauma. Okay. And again, I'm not a mental health professional. So if it's somewhere where I feel like I shouldn't go, Kimmy, I suggest them going to a mental health professional. But if it's somebody that is okay, I'm able to work with in a way that I don't bring them into the trauma where they actually have a reaction or something like that. I'm
Right.
very, very careful and mindful not to bring people where they shouldn't go, because I'm not qualified for that. I'm not a professional psychologist or like I said, psychotherapist. I've worked with them, but I'm not qualified, and my credentials are not suited for that type of work. But I do help people with spiritual um, blocks and problems, and I have, through holistic studies, okay, and like I said, I pretty much started in 2015 studying, Kimmy, but
And that was that as from the result of your stroke that you got started on that?
no, um, the timeline is I had strokes 3 years after the holistic studies.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And there's a big part of that I'd like to make sure everyone hears, because it's very, very important. Um, it's about inner language, the inner self-talk that's going on. Okay. So anyway, let's go back to childhood, going into adolescence, going into high school, frozen with fear, severe anxiety. Um, the one bit of awareness I had of energy, of dealing with energy. I didn't know what energy was. I thought energy was plugging something into a wall.
Right.
But we're energy workers,
Yeah.
Kimmy. So
I had no clue what energy was when
yeah,
I
I mean, I went when I was a little boy. My mom had a special um, liking of mediums. Okay, that's how she got a little of her healing from mediums, and 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 I loved psychic mediums, loved them to this day.
so yeah, so that was cool because you actually were introduced to that
At an early age.
at an early age. I
Yeah.
was not until I was grown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I just thought I was a weird person.
well, Kimmy, if you know what, I thought I had everything. I said, you know what is this that I can't experience a moment of peace in my mind? It was. I owned a business. I met my wife. I had 3 children, and we had a beach house. And I would go to the beach house on the weekends with them in the summer, and I couldn't sit on the beach and have an hour of peace in my mind. I was mentally tortured all the time. And Kimmy, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know back then. Right today, we know that that's probably anxiety, or you got
Oh,
something going on. Go speak
yeah.
to a therapist.
John, back then there was no diagnosis of anxiety or depression or anything like that. There
You,
wasn't.
you just got your butt kicked by your parent. My parents would say, it's all in your head. Get back to work. And you know what? You're bypassing everything that's going on, and you're not going inside. There was no meditation and going inside. All there was fear, 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 fear. From my religion to my mother to my family, everything around me was fear.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
understand that. I do.
okay, so Kimmy, I'm trying to consciously be aware of. It was about 2010
Uh-huh.
that I had this encounter with Jesus, because I had a strong devotion to him, a strong connection. Okay, and that's based in my Catholic faith. I still love my Catholic faith, but there's a lot of things that I put the time out on, where, the burning in hell and you got to go to confession thing and all of that stuff. It just, I don't knock it, but it doesn't work for me. And so I had a break from the religious paradigm that probably was a big contributor to what was going on, because I was in severe fear of being judged by this God in heaven who was supposed to love me, but that would throw me in hell. And I'm saying, this
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. So,
I was brought up Catholic too, so
okay, so you know the drill.
yeah.
So when I had this encounter with Jesus in 2010, I called on him and asked him to come to me. And Kimmy, I've never felt anything like that in my life. That was my first, I guess, spiritual experience where it felt like he entered my body. It was so beautiful and comforting. And from there on, I started to seek out more. I got to say, my wife's best friend, Kathy, and her grandmother were probably my first experiences with psychic mediums. So we used to have monthly spiritual powwows starting in 2010. And my healing started to progress at that point. Anxiety was still rampant, but I was able to find a little bit of peace, Kimmy. But 2015, I started to really delve into this deeply with holistic studies. And Awakenings Institute was Philip and Jane Montrose. They're on the central coast of California. And they taught us a lot of. they call it holistic EFT, which would be a lot of, Kimmy, a lot of visualization and
Mm-hmm.
hypnotherapeutic processes to clear energy. And they were quite deep and healing. I worked on a lot of my emotions, but it's all about going inside and being honest with yourself about what you feel, guys.
Oh
Okay?
yeah.
That is the key to your healing. Okay? And so about 2015, I did so much work around what was going on. I had severe acid reflux, Kimmy. I healed that. I used to be on medicine every day for that. No more. I completely healed this acid reflux, which was pretty nasty. And and I was taking not only was I doing holistic studies, I was taking EFT straight training from EFT International, and that's still my favorite because it's easy to understand.
So let me get this straight. This is all before the strokes.
Yes,
Wow, John.
and,
See,
and then I still
this
had strokes.
this needed to come out. Yes, because
Okay,
I thought all this happened after.
nah, Kimmy. The strokes were a wake up call for
Yeah.
me. Um, that told me, what was it that you were not addressing before the stroke, before the strokes? And there was something deeply hidden in my consciousness, in my awareness, that um, I had not done enough. Okay. And I didn't do any work on that, Kimmy. I think, you know what? I'm healing. I'm feeling so good. I'm tapping. However, you know, I got to bring this up. Serena last week said we all have an addiction. It just comes out in different ways. Some people use drugs and alcohol. I used food. Okay. Probably to this day, Kimmy, I'm not fully healed from. I like to eat and I can overeat. When I eat, it's usually out of filling some kind of a need, and it's still there. And I got to say, it contributed to um, diabetes. Okay, I don't own that diagnosis. I have sugar issues, but I don't walk around saying I'm a diabetic.
Right.
And I encourage people to to be mindful of not taking ownership of your diseases. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying that you can help yourself.
You don't have to claim it as your own.
You don't have to claim it as a sign on your back, Kimmy,
Right.
and walk around saying, "Well, Kimmy, do you realize that there are a lot of diseases today that have initials? I have Okay, there's something called thyroid eye disease. Now, it's called TED. And the pharmaceutical industry or whatever, okay, I'm not everything is the way it's supposed to be. But they have a way of, or I guess the media, of hypnotizing us to saying, we have this disorder. We have TED. We have IBS. We have, and you know what? People love taking ownership of their suffering. And I refuse, and I suggest you reframe those things you call diagnosis, because
Right.
I'm reversing diabetes. Everybody's saying there's no cure for diabetes. Well, that's bullshit. I'm reversing it because as I do my work, Kimmy, I'm starting to see my numbers come down. I'm eating healthier, and my numbers are coming down gradually. Okay. I still take medications. Um, that was another thing Serena touched on, and you, that I definitely agree with. there is nothing wrong or unspiritual about taking medications, guys. So I learned that in the stroke period, Kimmy. When I went into the strokes, everything had to be natural. Well, let me tell you something. Good old aspirin and Plavix and cholesterol medicine and blood pressure medicine saved my life. That's why I'm still here talking to you, because there were these wonderful pharmaceutical medicines that helped me to get through that experience. Okay. I've learned to slowly take less medicine. That's where I'm at now. But friends, if you need to take medicine for anything, anxiety, anything that helps your body to do its work, okay, please do not feel that that is a weakness in any way or that it's not spiritual. As a matter of fact, it's highly spiritual. Everything on this planet, Kimmy, is created by we're all God's source energy. And so is medicine, so is that lamp, so is this computer we're speaking on. Everything is God's source energy. And if you open up your consciousness to allow everything in this universe to work for you, it's an abundant, beautiful universe. Okay?
Absolutely. I'm definitely all for taking medication if it helps you.
Yeah,
it's a frequency. Everything we do is a frequency. Okay, there's no bad frequencies. There are no bad frequencies.
Right. That would be judgment.
Right.
To judge something good or bad. We're not saying take medication or not. We're telling you to do what's best for you. If you feel like you got to go to the doctor and take medication, you do what's right for you. And there's no judgment in that. It's not good or bad. It's what's good for me and what doesn't work for me. It's preference. Okay? Right. Take the good and bad discussion out of it. Take the judgment out of it. It's not the way it is. Kimmy, this is something we've learned through the years, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but what I really do want, how I started with the EFT, guys, I was doing EFT 5 years before I learned it professionally. And we all remember Jack Canfield, right? The name Jack Canfield, spiritual teacher. Jack is still around.
It sounds familiar.
But... Jack Canfield, yeah, he's an author of many. I don't know if he's Hay House, but Jack Canfield is a spiritual teacher, and he once was speaking about this EFT stuff, and Kathy, my psychic medium friend, picked up on it, and she says, "Hey, Johnny, I was just listening to Jack Canfield, and he said there's something called EFT. It's this tapping stuff, and all you do is tap and say how you feel." And I said, "Oh, I can say anything?" "Yeah, you say exactly how you feel and you tap." Well, Kimmy, I took that and rode with it in a way that was probably out of the ordinary. I don't know. I used to lay in bed with that thought process, with that idea. And this is what I want everybody to hear, because this is where a lot of our creations and manifestations start in our childhood, okay? Where the patterns start.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, Kimmy, was I'd lay in bed at night and I would tap on a couple of stories of things that happened to me that made me feel like crap, okay? Whether it was a coach not putting me in the all-star game, whether it was my mother talking to me like I was a piece of crap, whether it was my father giving me a dirty look, remember, I was very sensitive, and to a sensitive child, a dirty look can be trauma. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Timmy, I started to feel in months' time so calm. I said, this stuff is friggin' amazing. And I just kept doing it. Anytime, without any training, anytime I would feel anything that was not what we call an alignment, we call it, if something's out of alignment, means we don't feel good.
Right.
Something's out of alignment. That's the term we use now as spiritual kooks. But back in the day, I would tap on anything that would emotionally bother me. Let's put it that way. And I started to feel so calm about this. I went to my angelic channeler friend. Her name was Maura. And I said to her, Maura, I'm getting this feeling that I should study this thing and take it to another level. And can I get some confirmation on that? And sure enough, the angel said, go full blast with this. So, Kimmy, I'm taking these EFT courses and studies, and I'm healing. I'm telling you straight up, guys, I didn't work on something I thought was nothing. Okay? And what I'd like to tell you guys is, look, don't let anything slide that's working deep inside that computer back there, because it's running a program. Okay? And for me to not work on feelings of not having done enough, Kimmy, that's bypassing important stuff. So that's what the strokes taught me. Okay, you hadn't done enough? Let's see you walk out of a wheelchair. So Kimmy, and look, I got plenty of help after the strokes from a lot of psychic mediums. I met you, I met C. When I listened to you guys' channel, I learned, okay? I worked with Terry Angel. I worked with Pamela. I've worked with a number of mediums. I listened to Rhea. I've gotten plenty of readings from a lot of you kids. And I'm open to learning from everyone. That's pretty important piece for everybody to know. If you hear something that doesn't work for you, Kimmy, when we're giving readings, we say, take what resonates and leave the rest.
And leave the rest, yes.
Leave the rest. If you say something that doesn't work for me and it gives me a kink in my energy flow, I say, okay, it's her belief. It's fine. It's not for me, because my intuition tells me it's not for me. And that's okay for you to do. And that's what we encourage you guys to do. The other day, I did a live about belief systems, Kimmy. I hadn't done a live in probably a couple of years. And I did a live about being aware and very mindful of the beliefs you choose to take on, because they could be very limiting, and you can be creating some darkness that isn't necessary,
right,
because of these beliefs. So doing all that work, Kimmy, and look, the EFT really came in handy. I was pretty much shut down on my whole left side when I stroked. Okay.
I want to ask a question about that.
Please.
Does EFT have to do with opening the meridians that
okay
that are in our bodies?
Yes, on our bodies, opening them or allowing the energy to flow. Kimmy,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that our audience understands the chakra system.
Right.
Okay. The meridian system in our body is based on ancient Chinese medicine. Okay? EFT incorporates a few meridians, but there are meridians all over our body.
Do you
Okay?
remember?
And
Do you remember Magdalena Rose?
oh, sure.
Yeah, I took a couple of classes from her. She was really awesome, and she was teaching me about the meridians. That's why I was wondering if there was a correlation
Yes, it's a
between.
direct correlation, Kimmy. Gary Craig was a Stanford engineer, and he developed EFT in the 80s. Okay, um, he would he what he did was, Kimmy, he helped people to be consciously aware of their feelings, which is the key to healing. Kimmy,
Yes,
if
I
we're not
agree.
able,
Don't
if we're
stuff
not
them
able,
down.
right? If we're not able to go inside and to be honest with ourselves about something, we're never going to get to the root of the problem. Okay, so there's no judgment. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad. There's nothing weak about being afraid or I'm feeling fear. As a matter of fact, we come into this existence within a polarized environment. It's rooted in fear, and on the other end of it, it's there's love, joy, and gratitude. There's a low vibration of fear and a high vibration of love, joy, and gratitude up here. And so we travel up and down. There are many different terms for this. Um, Abraham calls it the vortex.
Right,
Stream of David calls it the spiral.
right.
You know, these are streams of consciousness that give these things terms so you could understand. But you could call it anything you want. But energy, everything we are is energy, and what we're speaking about here is learning how to make the energy work for us. Okay, when it's when things are not going comfortably for you, when you're mentally drained, when you're deeply saddened by something, when you're afraid of something, um, there are a lot of ways to help yourself. Okay,
Absolutely.
Kimmy, I don't I don't claim that EFT is the best way. What I will say is that this EFT tapping, learning how to work with the meridians, is a very fast and easy way to get your energy back up. Okay. And Kimmy, in my studies of EFT, when I showed up for my first EFT class, it was at the Open Center in New York City, which held 300 people. Okay, I got 300 people in this class. And here I am. I'm a ball player. I was a mozzarella maker and a baseball umpire. And I'm in class with 299 therapists, social workers, psychologists, mental health professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am saying to myself, what the heck am I doing here? I'm not a mental health professional. EFT, you don't have to be a mental health professional to use it, but they were there because they know in their studies that it's a tool that you can use to help enhance healing very quickly. Okay? By using this meridian map and by expressing your emotion, you're
Mm-hmm.
clearing the energy of that stuck energy. You're moving it quicker than just as you would in talk therapy, Kenny. You know, some people like to sit in front of a therapist and talk, and that helps them. That's fine. some people will say, well, what can I do to heal quicker? I say, well, if you want to heal quick, I suggest you do EFT. But you know what was missing with EFT, Kimmy? It stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, by the way.
Yes.
What was missing was when I'm working with all of these different practitioners and mental health professionals, there was this is just the way I took it, Kimmy. There was a big piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it as a spiritual tool, and most EFT pracs see it as a mental health tool. Well,
Right.
I say there's no difference between your spiritual health and your mental health. And so that's why in my sessions, I
Mm-hmm.
incorporate both. So what did I do? I adopted working with people like you, Kimmy, psychic mediums, Pamela, a lot of different Rhea, a lot of
I have
different psychic.
one. I have a simple one that you gave me months ago when I was going through everything breaking.
Okay.
Everything. Okay. And you
Okay.
actually helped me with this one. And it was, even though I have no control over this, I know everything always works out for me.
Okay.
I wrote it down, John, when you gave it to me.
Now, Kimmy, how did that work for you?
I did self-talk because that's what I do. I tried the tapping. I tried the tapping and it was just like, it was not working for me. So I continued with my self-talk. Every time I caught myself wondering what the heck I did wrong to deserve all these things breaking down in my life, I got this. That's why it sits on my desk.
Okay. Well,
and I did a lot of self-talk with it.
Kimmy, what you're saying is what I felt about EFT. I said, you know what? People are coming in and we're tapping with them. Okay. And some people are getting very good results. Everybody was getting a benefit.
Keep talking. I just got to let the cat out.
Everybody's getting a benefit, but I always felt that my peeps, my clients, needed some kind of an explanation. What are we doing? Well, we're working with the law of attraction. If you're not expressing what you're feeling in the law of attraction, we would call that you're in resistance.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you don't address the resistance, what happens, Kimmy? It gets bigger.
Yeah.
In the law of attraction, what you resist will persist and grow and snowball. So, what I gave you, Kimmy, is called an EFT setup statement.
Right.
Okay. It's never explained to a client that this is a spiritual law of attraction concept. It's never explained that way. And that was my way of my feeling that I had to break away from the steadfast EFT pack and break away and use my angel team to help explain this to people, and they understand it better that way. So I attract a client that seems to understand this, or if they don't understand it, I help them to understand it. And Kimmy, I'll have sessions with folks that there is no tapping because you just said a few minutes ago, the tapping part didn't work for me. It's the understanding that helps you to heal.
Right.
Okay. It's your consciousness, but it's the understanding that you can be compassionate with yourself about where you're at in the moment, and to bring compassion and acceptance to myself for feeling that gets you through that, Kimmy. and that opens up to new creation. Okay, so that's why I say don't resist anything, and that's why I'm always creating those EFT setup statements. I've developed a way of explaining it. I no longer call it EFT. I call it self-compassion and acceptance awareness. All I want people to do is stop when they're stuck on something and say, stop, let's slow this down a bit. What's going on? Well, I feel like something bad is always going to happen to me after something good, after I go through a good time. That was actually an example of someone, a client I had recently. So I said, wait a minute, can we stop and be in acceptance of our feelings right now with just that? And Kimmy, when we don't resist that feeling, okay, there's a healing involved in that. There's a healing, okay? In other words, here's the good news, guys. You can feel whatever you want, good, bad, dark, light. You can feel like you want to do something very, very dark, and you don't have to beat yourself up for feeling it. Acting on it is a different thing. I'm not telling anybody to go out and do dark things, although there is no judgment. There is no judgment in that. However, a lot of people
just frequencies, yes.
Right. A lot of people judge themselves for having bad thoughts, Kimmy, and that can hold a person back and help them to get stuck. We came here to experience everything from darkness to light, and we wouldn't know the light without the dark. So to beat yourself up and to judge yourself over having dark thoughts is not healthy for the human psyche.
Right.
Okay. So, Kimmy, where are we going? I had the strokes, and so when I had the strokes, I did a lot of EFT.
That's what I was going to ask you.
But however, there was like the third night into the strokes, I had a second stroke, Kimmy, and it brought my mouth down to here. Okay, I was severely disfigured in my face. Someday I'll pop up a picture of that. I took a picture of that, and I was so crippled that when the second stroke hit, Kimmy, I wanted to go. I didn't want to live. And to this day, I don't know. I said to Maura, my angel channel friend, how did you know I was even in the hospital? She says, you told me. I said, well, how did I tell you? I didn't remember I was friggin' had a stroke. I didn't tell anybody. Somehow she found out. And on the night of the second stroke, when I wanted to check out, she said, the angel said, all you got to do is get through this night. So that was the first time in my life I ever took, they gave me a couple of mild muscle relaxants. And I took them.
Hell yeah.
Here's the guy that doesn't like to take medicine. I took them. I said, I don't give a shit. I'm going to die.
I'm the same way. I don't like anything like muscle relaxers and stuff like that. But if I went through that, yeah, I would.
Xanax, Ativan, something like that, Kimmy. And let me tell you, I felt great. And so the message was from the angels, just get through the night. Well, Kimmy, when I woke up in the morning, I had this feeling that I can get through this. Okay. I was stuck in a wheelchair, and, they're sending me down for physical therapy, and they had to extend the time that I was going to stay in the hospital for another week or two. And I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. They wouldn't let me. First of all, my left side was shut down. So
yeah,
it was pretty, Kimmy, it was so embarrassing. I had to have someone take me to the bathroom. And I said, if I'm going to live like this, I want to check out. So the angel message got me through the next morning, and something came over me that said, John, you can do this. So I started to tap. My EFT buddies wanted to come in and help me, and I didn't want to see anybody. Like I said, I was feeling pretty insecure. My mouth was down to here. I didn't want people seeing me in a wheelchair. That was just me, Kimmy. That's just me. I don't want anybody ever wiping my butt in this lifetime. So that's just me. If I can't be self-sustaining and take care of myself.
That's a normal reaction, though.
Okay.
That really is a normal reaction.
And so I didn't want to lose my independence. And so I started doing a lot of tapping. And most of the tapping at the time, I recall it being on, I told you about setup statement. This is what some of my setup statement. And what I like you guys to understand by the setup statement is I'm being fully aware of what I'm feeling in the moment. And this is what some of my stuff sounded like. And you use this karate chop point to bring forth that awareness to your consciousness. Even though I feel like such an idiot for letting my sugar and blood pressure go so high, I'm willing to be compassionate with myself. I accept how I feel. Okay? Even though I allowed my cholesterol to go through the roof and clog up my arteries to the brain. Okay? Even though I knew I had a problem with blood sugar and I ignored it. Even though I feel like such a jerk for not taking the medicine when the doctors told me they advised me to take it. All of the self-judgments, Kimmy, I started tapping and accepting myself for feeling them. And Kimmy, tapping on anything that I was feeling in my emotional system. Day and night, I'm tapping, because I'm getting really digging into that awareness. And Kimmy, I worked my way out of the wheelchair and onto a walker, I believe within 3 days. And the therapist never saw anything like that. I believe it's important for us to stop and understand that there is a huge emotional connection with whatever dis-ease we have going on. Okay? So a person walking around in a lot of self-judgment and self-doubt and self-loathing is really going to hold their healing back, Kimmy, because they're not right in their mind. And the model is the body, the mind, and the spirit. They all work together, which is why I'm always working on my stuff now, guys, and why I'm starting to reverse the diabetes. Okay? I was told that whatever died in my in my face, Kimmy, and in my leg, which I have a little gimp in my leg. I can't run the way I used to. I could jog, but I can't run. I used to be a baseball umpire, and I was able to keep up with 18-year-old kids just 5 years ago, like I was a jet. And so I can't umpire no more. My balance is a little bit off, but when the doctors say none of that will come back, see, I don't want to believe that, because I believe that the body can redevelop new nerve pathways. I believe that the body can revive things, okay? Someone should go tell Jesus that once you die, you never come back. What I'm saying is, Kimmy, I don't know if it'll ever come back 100%, but I'm always working with that mindset that it can. Okay? All the while being in total gratitude for being able to sit here and talk to you.
Why not? Why not believe everything is possible?
Why not? Why not? It doesn't serve me to believe that nothing is going to get better. It doesn't serve me. So I'm not taking that belief on as a choice. I'm not taking that belief on as a belief. Excuse me. So I'm very mindful, and I suggest everybody is very mindful of their words and how they say them, because we're always creating. Okay. And so,
Absolutely. I agree with that. I really, really agree with that. Be mindful of our words. Our words are powerful.
yeah, for someone to walk around and say, I, I believe that we're, Kimmy, look, and it's okay. Look, when you have a terrible disease, such as the C word, the cancer word,
Right.
um, that's a very, very hard, tough diagnosis. Okay. Um, I'm not telling people to deny that. I'm saying on some of these less severe diseases, I suggest they walk around shifting their language. They can say, there's something called diabetes. It's a sugar issue, and I'm working on that. Okay. I'm just consciously aware of me not walking around saying I'm a diabetic, because there's something about taking ownership of that I feel holds me back. So um, I am working on a project called diabetes right now, Kimmy. What are you working on, Kimmy? Are you working on anything? We're all working on something. We're
Right
all
now
working
I'm
on
working
something.
on the right now I'm working on the tickle in my throat.
There you go. I'm working on this in the. Doesn't mean I have a cold or I have a I have severe asthma or something. That might be the diagnosis. But what I'm trying to tell people is, whatever it is you have going on in your energy system, you can help to heal it with medicine. With the help of medicine, it can help you to function. With the help of emotional healing, you could help your body to heal itself. I'm
Absolutely.
sure everybody in our audience knows somebody that healed from um, some crazy things. I know a few of my personal friends. Uh, Terry Angel healed from 2 bouts of cancer. Okay. I know C had gone through C's healing journey.
She's gonna be one of my guests as well.
I mean, C's story is phenomenal. Okay, there are people that healed and walked away and said, "Sorry, no more chemo," and they walked away and healed. You can heal anything, Kimmy. So, and you do it by healing your emotional perspective on things. Okay, for us to walk around feeling like we're limited beings is really limiting us, really holding us
Yeah,
back.
holding us back because
Yep.
that in itself is a limiting belief.
Yes, that Kimmy, most of the work I do with the clients that I seem to attract are people that have these patterns of attraction um, in their lives that have not been very healthy and that haven't served them very well. Um, it could be anything from, let's say, I had. This is one of my favorite stories. There was a girl who came to me, young lady, maybe in her 30s, and said she said, I need help, and she knew I was doing EFT. I
Hmm.
need help for I keep attracting narcissistic relationships, and I had to explain to her that, look, I know what a narcissist is, but I'm not a mental health professional. Let's talk like street people here. What do you feel like these people have? How do they treat you? Well, they treat me like SHIT. Okay. I said, there we go. I got something I could work with. Okay. And so EFT, the basis of EFT is to try and pick stories. If the client is able to recall a story of the first time they ever recalled feeling like someone, a male, in this case, a male, treating them like they were a piece of crap. Okay, you get that, Kimmy? So she had to think for a second, and she said, I said, first thing that comes to your mind, because that's what your awareness working for you. She said, yeah, the first time a man treated me like crap was my father, who was divorced from my mother, called my mother and said he wasn't picking us up for the weekend. Okay? And so we did a little tapping around that. And what we're doing is shifting the way she saw that. She saw the fact that she wasn't being picked up by her father is she wasn't loved, that she wasn't important. And what the tapping helps people to do is shift us from that unhealthy perspective to something better. And look, with the angelic guidance, I was able to say, do you understand as a little girl, when you were so hurt that your dad wasn't coming to pick you up, you might say, you know what, I'm not really loved. And what you're doing is creating in that moment. Okay, so she created this pattern of attraction. I'm not worthy of love. And it carried into her adult relationships. And one guy after another would abuse her. And she said, something's going on here. I need to break this pattern. And when we did the tapping, we did 3 sessions, Kimmy. And after that, she started to text me and she said, I met this wonderful guy. We're having a great relationship and things were, well, she started to feel better about herself. Okay. So what was she doing? She was judging herself. Okay. And so we had to shift that perspective because she created an unhealthy perspective about herself when she was a child. And that's where we create most of this stuff, Kimmy. I'm so well trained in this, but now that I have my angels to help me with it, I'm able to talk and discuss it. Because, Kimmy, if you don't like to tap it, that's not working for you. Perhaps understanding works better for you. Okay? But when I gave you that what we call the EFT setup statement, it resonated for you.
Yes, it did.
And so the resonating and the awareness is what helped you get to the next piece of information. And you gradually, using your own tools, work that out for yourself.
So when you had these strokes, you used the EFT primarily?
I did use primarily the EFT. I didn't use any hypnotherapeutic processes. I take people through them occasionally in my sessions if they want to. Kimmy, I have one that is especially great. And you know something? I like bringing people that are spiritually minded, like-minded on this journey. We call it the spiritual path process. And what I do is just bring people, anybody on what we call the spiritual path process. And it's hypnotherapeutic. It really gets you out of your head and into your imagination and visualization. And you have some psychic experiences while you're on this journey. Oh, I see a man. Who is it? Well, feel into it. Who does it feel like it is? I feel like it's my grandfather. Does your grandfather have a message for you? Yes, he does. What would that be? So it helps people to enhance their own psychic ability, but it's very, very cathartic and healing. And that is something I'd like to do with a lot of us one night. Take us through this hypnotherapeutic spiritual path process. And what I do is guide everybody. And if they run into something that I feel could use healing on the spot, in the in the hypnosis, I'll have them tap, and they're clearing a plethora of stuff on this journey. And it's when they come out of it, they'll say, "What the heck was that? That was so healing, and felt so good." So that's something I'd like to do one day in the future, but not right now.
Not right now. That sounds
Not
really
right.
amazing. Um so I know there's a few people that have gotten diagnoses lately. Um um what would you say specifically to them from your own self-healing journey that would help them today?
Well, I would say to them that to look, anything that causes dis-ease in the body is something going on mentally, emotionally, okay, that can be worked with for you to come out with a better understanding or perspective, okay? Remember, kids, we're all God source energy. If you're feeling less than divinely guided in any way, if you're feeling like spirit let you down, if you're feeling like life has beaten you down, if you're feeling things that are not serving you very well, I would suggest that you meet yourself where you're at. Okay, and that's right where you start in EFT, Kimmy. That's why it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
When we were chatting, well, Kimmy, what it is? Well, I wanted you to get inside and to ask you what I always feel that, Kimmy, you're an advanced healer. Okay, I was able to. That's another thing about working with a lot of peeps. I don't have to start at the very beginning with you. I know that you know how this stuff works. So what
Mm-hmm.
I was able to say to you, I believe I could recall the text conversation. Kimmy, what is it that you're feeling that you've always felt your whole life? And that feeling that you've had your whole life, that something is not working right for you, is a pattern of attraction that you can break, that you can shift. Not
Mm-hmm.
break, break ain't the right word, shift to a different perspective.
Right.
Okay? And anytime you shift something to a better perspective, Kimmy, one of higher energy, you're starting new creation. Okay? So instead of thinking that life has been unfair to me all the while, if you can get someone to say, well, you know something, it started off pretty rough for me. And if I could help that person shift and say, well, can you show yourself a little appreciation on how hard you worked to get through that? Well, yeah, that's true. I did work very hard. Well, instead of thinking that you're a failure, let's look at the higher perspective. And there's a shift in consciousness right there. And that's going to bring upon healing in the right direction. So what I would say to anybody that's going through anything, Kimmy, is for them to meet themselves, any kind of illness, is to meet themselves where they are at emotionally. What are they feeling? Okay, do they feel like they've let themselves down at all? Do they feel like someone else has let them down? Whether that be a sibling, a parent, whether they feel like that's God, whatever you're feeling. Remember, God doesn't punish. God doesn't judge. If you feel in your heart of hearts that spirit let you down, that is something you would use in the EFT or in self-compassion awareness. That's where you would start.
Mm-hmm.
All my life, I felt like things haven't worked out for me or things are never fair for me. That is an unhealthy belief system that I would like to shift into something better. And which is why Archangel Michael and Metatron are my two main angel guides, Kimmy. They are very loving and caring, but they're no nonsense type of energy that they want to look. There is certainly a part of our healing journey that requires a balance of the masculine and feminine. Okay,
Yes.
means that there's a time where we need to be compassionate,
Yes.
and the other side of it is we gotta get off our ass and do something about it.
Yeah, and that's the part I was going to bring up is because of our upbringing.
Okay,
Because of our upbringing, that's why you have the yeah.
it was all one-sided. There
Okay, but
was
because of our upbringing, okay, where we were told to get our big girl panties on and just deal with life, okay? That's why you've got the tough masculine angels with you at this point.
and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to balance that out, right? I'm going to help people to see. Look, it wasn't crawling up into a ball and crying that got me out of the wheelchair. I had to do some,
Yeah,
some
move. Yeah.
fighting to come back. But I did it by fighting to come back and by being compassionate with myself. There's a balance of masculine and feminine. That's what I'm
Right.
suggesting everybody does. Kimmy, you got to where you are by putting on your big girl panties, so you can be in appreciation for your mom and dad for instilling that power in you. Okay.
No, it wasn't a mom or a dad. I was giving up.
Okay. Well, Kimmy, whoever was there to, or maybe nobody was there for you.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much, John. It was a rough upbringing, but yeah,
Okay. Well, listen, I'd like you to understand that it was your spirit
yeah,
of being tough that said, hey, look, I want to survive. Okay. That got you to this point. Okay. And now, knowing that it takes a certain amount of toughness, okay, you're able to say to somebody when they're down, okay, we could be compassionate with that, but let's get off our butt and let's do something about it. You have
right.
that balance in your system that is able to relay to your clients that, hey, look, you can heal from this. You can get better. Let's not take on the victim mentality, which is very low
Absolutely.
vibrational and degrading.
Absolutely. That's
So,
what this whole thing is about. You can heal. You can heal yourself. You can make this a self-healing journey. It's always, always, always up to you. Always.
Timmy,
You don't have to accept a diagnosis. You don't have to. You can, get up and start doing something about it.
Timmy, there are people that like to use Reiki. There are people that like to
Oh,
use,
absolutely.
I don't care if you like to use modalities, use them. If you like,
Uh-huh.
if you feel better after talking with a good psychic medium, if you're feeling better about yourself, that's good. If you feel like you want to go to a therapist, a mental health, whatever is going to help you to feel better and to empower you. Okay.
Exactly.
The only thing I ask people to be wary of is people that people healers that might that might say to their clients that it's through that, it's by the fact that they're the healer. A healer is nothing but a guiding light. Okay, someone that helps you to get to that next level. Okay, I don't heal anybody. The client, people that come to me, Kimmy, I help them to heal by helping them to see who they are, helping them to see their power. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I might use the tool of EFT. I might use a little visualization. I might use my angelic team. I'll use whatever feels right to me at the time, and however my client feels comfortable. But I would say to a person that goes to a healer, make sure that they feel like the healer is just helping them to heal, that the healer is not this almighty person that is doing the healing for them. Okay? When we call ourselves healers, I like to say we're healing helpers. Okay? I think that's pretty important because it's up to you to decide who you want to help you. If you go to a practitioner that you walk away from the session feeling like crap, maybe you were spoken down to or something. If that is the case, then that healing helper may not be for you. Find someone that helps you to empower yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
Any questions? We hold space. Linda, well said. Yes. We help them to heal themselves. Exactly. Any questions?
Anybody got any questions for John? I got all mine done. Actually, you answered most of them before I even had a chance to ask.
Kimmy, sometimes I'm a loss for words.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's an hour and 20 minutes already.
I'll believe that one when you know.
Who's laughing? Somebody's throwing up laughs.
Oh.
Sandy. Yeah. Sandy, was that you laughing? What are you laughing at?
Yeah.
How did you heal yourself from acid reflux? Rachel, by doing these processes and going within and nibbling away at what I feel wasn't right about myself. Okay? And that's how I remember using a lot of hypnotherapeutic. I said, wow, my acid reflux is going away because I had a different, I switched that perspective about myself. I was always beating myself up. I must be not good enough. The not good enough story, where do you find that going on in yourself, Rachel? That's where I would start. They're not good. What is the program that's running since you were a little girl in your mind?
That was Megan laughing, by the way.
Megan. Okay, see. Well, last time I worked with you, I think we went, what did we go, 3.5 hours? We wore out the crowd.
Yes. Yes. John, Sandy wants to know, how much will you charge us for this fountain of youth you've obviously found?
Oh my God.
She's complimenting you.
You know something? Sandy, Jesus Christ. Well, the fountain of youth is found in exactly what we're talking about. We look at Kimmy, how she's glowing. You know what? When we're constantly getting rid of, working on this not good enough shit, we're allowing our beings to rise.
John. I got accused of sprinkling fairy dust around for a long time, and I do the work, guys.
Do the work.
I do the work. You know, I don't go searching for shadows. I do not do that. I deal with them. I deal with them when they come up.
Okay.
When they come up, I say, okay, why the heck did that trigger me? And then I sit down and I do a lot of self-talk. Okay. And usually it's pretty quick. It does not take me very long to figure out why I was getting triggered in the first place.
Okay. So you're able to reason with your higher self about what triggered you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Kimmy, that works for a fair amount of people. The EFT is designed for the people that don't want to do that. Okay? That's me.
Hi, Sally.
When I start having to figure out why, we have a big saying in EFT, why doesn't matter. That's why it's not right for everyone. Obviously, your spirit needs to know why.
Yes.
Okay. When I get in trouble, Kimmy, I'm so how would you say, mentally sensitive. Oh my God. I can go off into tangents like crazy. And so what I do is I shut that stuff down and I say, what am I feeling? I'm feeling like I'm just never going to get there, or whatever it is that's going on. And I accept that that's true. I accept myself for feeling that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, and you know what, Kimmy, I don't even have to tap anymore. I'll just give myself a statement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm always saying to my peeps, anybody that texts me, this is going on. What's going on? I'll say, okay, recite this to yourself, and I'll create a statement for them of acceptance and compassion. And that's always the first step of any healing.
I think overthinking gets in the way.
For me, it does.
I really, really advise against it. I really, really do, because you could sit there for days overthinking something, and the answer could be just like simple, just like that.
And you know something? It's important for people to understand that we're working with energy, and if you're stuck in an energy of I'm down in the mud, I'm not feeling very high, I'm not feeling very connected, I'm not feeling very well about myself, I'm just not feeling right. You're dealing with something that could be quite complex, but you don't have to go into a full tapping EFT session every time you come across this. What I say is to people, just stop, and be aware of what you're feeling and say, I'm feeling this and I'd like to be compassionate and accepting of myself in this moment. That's all you got to do. Usually it'll dissipate. If it doesn't, maybe you need a little more tapping. And we have something called the SUD scale in tapping, Kimmy. It goes from 1 to 10. When I ask you, you come to me with a situation, John, I'm feeling very angry. I'll ask you as an EFT guy, how intense is the anger? 1 to 10. 10 is like it's through the roof. Some people tell me I'm angry at a 14 right now. So then I know that they got something going on. But you always start where they are in the moment, Kimmy. And after we do a couple of rounds of tapping, I'll ask them, is it still a 14? No, it's down to a 9. What we use that scale is to show people that your energy has a gauge. And if you're able to get that number down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, that you've just moved out something that was stagnant and not working for you, and you've just created better for yourself. But the EFT community doesn't explain that very well to people. They don't want them talking to their clients. They want them just tapping, because the tapping does the work. And that didn't work for me, Kimmy. I have to talk.
Yeah.
That's how I like to talk.
Oh.
Okay. If there's any questions, Kimmy, I'll try to I'll let you go, sweetie. Oh my God.
No, Deborah says, I know what triggers me. I tap to keep from choking an idiot.
That's a great idea.
Oh. Heather says, that's what I do. I have a bit of a mental conversation with myself and pinpoint what the feelings are stemming from. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. And if I don't see it right away, I don't dwell on it. Okay.
Okay.
I don't dwell on it. I say, okay, it's okay not to know what's causing this right now.
Precise, Kimmy. That's golden nugget.
It's okay.
I don't have to know where this is coming from.
And the next time it comes up, then I can see even better. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Instead of frustrating myself and overthinking it until I'm ready to explode and strangle people.
Well, that's because, Kimmy, you're not resisting it. You're not judging it. You're not resisting it. I gotta know what this is right now. That's
because there's been a couple of things that popped up that triggered me, and I noticed it. But I asked myself, I said, why are you getting so triggered all of a sudden? And I thought about it for a little while and nothing really came up. So I said, okay, all right. I don't know why I'm getting triggered, and that's okay. That's okay.
And Kimmy, we've done plenty of tapping with people. People will come to us. Now remember, the mind is a machine. And you can have so much going on that I'm just not feeling right in my head and I don't know what it is. Well, in EFT, we'll start right there. Even though my mind is just not feeling very well right now, I got so much going on, I still love and accept myself. And we'll start there. And we'll kind of calm. Anytime your mind is in any kind of fight or flight, okay, it's inflamed. Okay, there's a lot of inflammation going on. And you're dealing in the primitive part of the brain called the amygdala.
Right.
So what the tapping does is it enhances that flow and it gets us out of the fight or flight reptilian part of the brain and into the prefrontal cortex. I'm sorry, the amygdala is back here, and we go into the prefrontal cortex is where we do our critical and we do our critical best thinking and our love feeling. Okay, the best part. This is where we want to do most of our cerebral work in the prefrontal cortex. And tapping us, this is scientifically proven, gets us out of that amygdala reptilian part of the brain and puts us into the calm part of the brain over here. And that's what the enhancement of the energy is doing in the tappings.
Right.
I mean, that's what we're doing. So it's especially good for those times where you don't know what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't figure this out. I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm going to calm that down. And the more you calm that down with a little bit of tapping or breathing, heart coherence, any of that stuff, you're going to bring the mental state into a calmer place, and your spirit will give it to you. You'll know where you're going with it. So that's the idea of what the tapping is doing. They use it for a lot of PTSD and a lot of severe mental issues. Some people, like my son Anthony, doesn't like to use it. My wife Janie uses tapping a lot. We're going to the store today, and she was just so nervous. And she likes to use her karate chop point, and she does a little bit of breathing and tapping. And what I'm noticing about Jane is she used to get severe motion sickness. Before we go on a long car ride, she'll do some tapping, and I'm noticing it not being as severe now, and that's great for stuff like that. Phobias, crossing bridges, people that don't like to cross bridge, people that are afraid of dogs and spiders, People that are very anxious going into doctors' offices. There's a lot. It works well on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'll probably have to use that the next time I have a doctor visit.
Sure.
My blood pressure goes up sky high every time I go to the doctor.
Sure.
Every time. It's like, whoa.
Well, you know, what you want to do is you just want to feel into that. What am I afraid of? Well, I'm afraid he's going to want to put me in the hospital. Well, I'm afraid he's going to want to put me on this heavy medication. You know, what I ask people to do is try to dig up the fear. What is it? Go right after it. What am I afraid of? And that's where you tap. Okay, I'm afraid that he's going to find this in my blood work and he's going to tell me I have to get a biopsy or something. You know what? Whether I got to get one or not, but that's my fear. And I'm just trying to calm that fear to something that's proportionate. Okay. We use a EFT to try and get disproportionate fear down to something we can deal with a little bit more calmly. Okay. We use it for everything.
And see, I just realized, I was thinking while you were talking, and I realized that I have to change my statement.
Changes if you want to. Well, Kimmy, why did you
I have to change my statement because I just owned that every time I go to the doctors, my blood pressure goes up.
Okay.
I owned it. Now, see, yeah. So I definitely got to work on changing that one.
Oh, you mean you have a belief?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Even though I feel that every time I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is going to go up, I'm willing to be compassionate with myself about that. That's where you start. Okay. And I submit to you, after you do a little tapping on that first part, Kimmy, you're going to get to something deeper. Okay. You might be afraid of hearing, I'm just putting stuff. You might be afraid of hearing some bad news. You might be afraid of what he's going to tell you. You might be, and all of this is human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the EFT is designed to bring it down to a point where you can deal with it calmly and that you don't suffer so much. Okay. My EFT trainer, John D, said, suffering. Wait a minute. Suffering is. Oh, okay. No, pain in our life is inevitable. Suffering from it is optional. Okay, so meaning that you can do things to help yourself. Okay, and she's the first person to tell you in a severe situation. She calls it full court press. Means use medicine, tapping, breathing, heart coherence, Reiki, whatever you got to do
whatever
to feel
you
better.
got. Yes.
Go guns blazing at everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So most people know you, John.
Most people know me.
Most people that know you. For the people that don't know you, that may watch the replay, maybe you could tell people where they can find you and how to get in touch with you if they want a little help. Or
best place to get me is, I believe, Facebook. I'm on Instagram too. John Thaddeus Fiore. I'm on Facebook, and Angelic Mediumship and Counseling is my business page. Kimmy, I work very inexpensive because I'm retired now. I'm at that point where I love helping people so much. I'm $45 an hour. People get all kinds of prices, and that's their thing. You know what? They feel like their time is worth. I feel like my time is worth a lot more than $45 an hour. But I offer it because I want people not suffering. I want them coming to me for help.
Because you're a compassionate person.
I'm a compassionate healer, and I have the time. This is the time in my life, Kimmy, that I just love helping people, and I'm willing to work at a very reasonable rate to help them to do it. That's all. And you and I I would like to go live and do some readings with you.
Yeah,
Kimmy and I will do some psychic readings.
Yeah, that would be really cool. We were supposed to set something up, but
life happened.
Yes. Absolutely. So I think we're going to close this down.
Kimmy, thank you so much for having me. I mean, it's 8:40. Did I talk a little bit?
A little bit, John. I was enjoying it though, John. I really was.
Sweetheart.
Spirit really pressed in my heart to be doing this, because people need to know that there are different ways to self-heal. They need to know it. Okay. So I was enjoying it. Spirit told me to go with the flow. They already said John is a big talker. And I said, I know that, and it's all good.
But I don't use my hands when I talk. Kimmy, thank you. It was so enjoyable to be here. If there's any questions, guys, you can private message me if you want. Okay? I'll be happy to answer them. But, I kept Kimmy long enough here.
Yeah, I'm going to go and get something to eat. I got a pot of chili cooking.
Oh, that a girl. I love you, Kimmy. Thank you.
I love you too. You take care, John, and thank you so much for participating in this.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Really. All right, guys. You have a great rest of your night, okay? We love you.
Bye-bye, hon.
Bye-bye.